If you've been watching my Eternal Evolution videos for any amount of time, you've probably heard me mention Rakanna being the bane of my existence in PvE environments. And I decided I would dedicate some attention to specifically dealing with Rakanna in these instances, because it's getting old that every time I hit a wall, it's just because of Rakanna. So rather than waiting until I'm just strong enough to bully my way through it, I wanted to specifically deal with Rakanna. So I came in and really looked at him, and I had to kind of just assumed he was targeting lowest HP, and I wasn't really doing anything to deal with it intentionally the way that I would try to deal with it in arena. I was just kind of like, I'll eventually get strong enough to push through it. Rakanna is targeting lowest defense with this skill. And this opens up some opportunities for us to deal with this specifically and intentionally without really having to do too much extra, to anything too different than we'd already do it. But just being aware of it and preparing for it can put you in a really good spot. So knowing that he's going to target lowest defense, Rakanna is always the one that gets targeted, obviously, right? She's going to have the lowest defense, and in no realm am I trying to get defense on her, so I'm not looking for it in subs anywhere. So she's going to have as close to her base defense as any of the champs on my team, you know what I mean? So she's got 5162. So Leo, everybody had access to a copy of Leo, so even if he's at base evolution, he's still usable. And in a video recently, he demonstrated how usable he is. We got through one of the very high storyline stages that I had been stuck on, using him as an example of someone you can use without having to fully evolve them. So even if he's at low evolution, that's fine. We're worried more about his stats than his evolution capability, okay? Or, you know, what other skills you've unlocked and all that. Because he has the mechanic where he'll keep himself alive, right? If he takes fatal damage, and then he does more damage, he gains a little bit of lifesteal. He is very well equipped to deal with Rakanna. The important thing is he has to have lower defense than your damage dealer, and that's going to be tough since he's a Vanguard. You have to be real careful. So if we go through and look at his gear, you see I avoided defense percentage substats like the plague, and I really didn't even want any EX defense substats, but I had to kind of do what I could do with him, right? So Leo, I think, is probably the optimal option for this, and I'll put the run up on the screen now that you can see. It's Soul Mine 340, and I had been stuck here for a little bit again because of Rakanna. So when I clocked this, came in and made this change. This is their attempt, having made that change. I did manual Rakanna because I wanted to make sure she was as efficient as possible with her ult. But you see, he targets Leo first, and then later if he switches target, that's fine, because that gives my comp time to do everything they need to do. It gives my Mazrani time to drop shields and you know, all of the things that make us stronger throughout the fight get time to happen. Whereas ordinarily Rakanna, the battle just starts, he teleports behind Rakanna and she's gone, and I have no time to do anything about it. So you can't really prepare for it in a way of like, I gotta keep Rakanna alive, I have to get her where she can take that hit. It's more about redirecting Rakanna. So someone else on the team needs to have lower defense and super high HP to deal with this. And I think Leo's probably the best candidate for that. I think Oak is another really good option. Oak has kind of a similar mechanic in that when he receives lethal damage for the first time, he won't die. Then he gets immune to damage for 2 seconds. That gives your support a little bit of time to bring him back. If anything else, again, it's just taking the heat off of Rakanna, or whoever your damage dealer is, if you're running Emma, whoever it may be, pulling the heat off of them long enough for them to get things under control, and you can aim your ults as you see fit. I think any tank would honestly be good at it if you can get enough HP where they can survive the hit. I think even my Rakanna could survive the first initial hit, but she survived it with like 1 HP, so the next time he touches her, she's dead. Whereas someone that you focused HP in, like one of your tanks or something, could probably take it a little bit better. The important takeaway here is make sure that they have lower defense than whoever it is you're trying to protect. I think Leo's probably the optimal option. I think Oak is probably in second place. I think the other tanks would be fine. I think the other Vanguards could be fine. Or Vanguard, no, there's 2, yeah. We have three good Vanguards now. And that's really it. It's not a super long detailed video. I think it's just a matter of being aware of the mechanic. I wasn't really paying attention to how Rakanna behaved. I just knew he was coming after my damage dealer every time, so I just assumed he was going after the squishiest target. which meant he was going after the target with the lowest HP. But he's not. He's not like Bailey. Bailey does do that. So if you're trying to deal with Bailey, it's a little different. But Rakanna is targeting lowest defense with that skill, and you can kind of manipulate him to do what you want him to do there, and then get him out of the fight. So that's it. Just a real quick video to specifically touch on Rakanna, because holy shit, he's been real annoying to deal with, and hopefully we can continue to use this method to deal with him even as the stages get tougher and tougher. So if you've got any other tips for dealing with Rakanna, or if there's any other walls, I know that some of the popular walls are the double Sorietta stages in the storyline. Anything with Bailey can also be pretty tough. If you want to drop any other tips below for people in the comments on how you're dealing with certain walls in the game, that would be dope. And that's it. I'm getting out of here. Appreciate y'all. Hope it helped. Later.